Hi everyone, I'm Tina. Winter's here, the days are short. Do you find yourself sleeping more, especially at the weekends? If so, you're not alone. A recent analysis of data collected from 230,000 people living in 35 countries showed that in general, people sleep 5 to 25 minutes longer at the weekend, and the less people sleep during the week, the more they sleep at the weekend. But the data also show large variations across countries. For example, people in Northern and Western European countries sleep more than people in Asian countries, and people in Europe also extend their sleep more at the weekends. People in Asia fall asleep later, and sleep duration is the lowest in Japan, just over 6 hours a night, which is an hour less than that in Finland or in New Zealand. Now, these regional comparisons of sleep patterns are not entirely new. Earlier studies have reported similar trends based on mostly participants' responses to questionnaires or measurements made in sleep labs. But the strength of this new study is that it analyzed data from 55 million nights of sleep collected from 230,000 people in 35 countries, and the data were collected under real-life conditions, not in artificial lab settings. Data came from between 250,000 people per country per week over a period of a year and were collected by electronic devices that people bought and put on themselves to monitor their health. The device, which is a ring that the user puts on their finger, measures heart rate, body temperature, and physical activity levels, and the data are stored and integrated on cloud-based platforms. All these big data made it possible to derive robust statistics to study regional variations. But of course, there are also drawbacks to the system. For example, the ring device has more difficulty picking up when a person has woken up but is lying still in bed. And the accuracy of the device in measuring short daytime naps is still unknown. Still, the large body of data shows a compelling picture of sleep pattern differences across countries. And the authors hypothesized that these differences are influenced by age, sex, and also cultural factors, such as how important work is in a culture. For example, the authors pointed out that people living in the European countries that are included in the study work fewer hours than people in the Asian countries. And depending on how stable employment is, whether social welfare is available, or how important work is to livelihoods, the authors showed that some people may be willing to sacrifice sleep to get work done. The authors also contrasted sleep patterns in Japan with sleep patterns in Finland. And I would really enjoy seeing future studies expanding their scope to include environmental factors, such as urban or rural areas, latitude and amount of daylight, and how they influence sleep patterns. Because many studies have shown that at higher latitudes, people sleep less, and people also sleep less when there is less daylight. For example, Helsinki in Finland is at 60 degrees north. In winter, there are only 6 hours of daylight. And at the height of summer, there is like 19 hours of the day. Tokyo is not as far north as Helsinki, and the amount of daylight per day only fluctuates by about 5 hours throughout the year. So I imagine that the variability in the number of daylight hours could have as strong an effect on sleep patterns as cultural differences. This study clearly demonstrates how new data opportunities bring many answers and spark lots of new questions. It is also an excellent example of how big data studies, at their best, bring people together by bringing to light our diversity and also the commonalities shared by the global human family.